Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Points of View and a rather special programme for you today as I interview on your behalf the Chief Policeman of the BBC, the Chairman of the BBC Trust, Lord Patten. Now for you and for me the BBC is all about programmes, but in a sense Lord Patten sits above all that. Lord Patten has the final say on how licence fee money is spent and so in a way has ultimate power within the BBC. He and the Trust police quality and value for money and name and shame departments and programmes that fail. Up for a challenge, he was Governor of Hong Kong during its handover back to China and helped establish a new police force in Northern Ireland. Since starting at the BBC in May last year, Lord Patten has made his presence felt. He rejected plans for cuts to local radio, protected the World Service and now plans to cut management pay. Lord Patten believes that the BBC can enrich people's lives by introducing them to good books, great paintings or beautiful music. He recently appointed the new BBC Director General, George Entwistle, telling him the BBC should be 10 to 20% better than it currently is. Lord Patten, hello.
Hello, Jeremy.
Let me ask you, first of all, and these questions are on behalf of our viewers, about the shape of the BBC, because a lot of people now take stuff down off YouTube, they take it on demand, and here we are using channels to give them material at our convenience, and it seems like that's just a broken model.
Well, not most people. Most people, like 91%, still watch television in the traditional way, linear watching. You watch a channel, and one of the reasons why the BBC has been so successful is that we're very good at organising or curating channels, to use the BBC speak. But there are more who are choosing when they watch a programme, and that's why iPlayer has been so fantastically successful.
But yes, iPlayer obviously is a way of people getting what they want on demand, but that suggests that the channels are gone, that there is no need for them.
It's undoubtedly the case that technology is changing the way a lot of people view, but not everybody. And what, to use an awful expression, at the end of the day, what the BBC has to make sure it's doing is making terrific content, however people watch it.
To a licence fee payer, surely content is what they're buying. They want the programmes. We all understand that. They don't want to be paying for a pensions department, a property department, legal department, HR department, and so on. Don't they have to go?
We're on a programme of 11% efficiency savings over this charter period until 2016-17. We're cutting overheads, support services by 25%, the sort of things you were talking about, so as to find more money to put into programmes, because that's the sharp end. But in order to have a sharp end, you've got to have something behind it from time to time. If we got rid of the people who are managing the books, we'd soon find ourselves in big trouble with licence fee payers.
OK, let's pause there if we can and just move to content and what you've been talking about this week. And firstly, tissues out, because Gareth Malone's The Choir is back.
This song is just, it's a nail on the head. I think that people, when they hear of us, will be inspired by the choir and think, hey, these guys are sending a message. They're sending a message out to every individual, you know? And I think people will sit up and notice, and who knows, relationships, to some extent, could improve on the basis of us delivering this message.
Well done, Sam. That's very good. You can go back and join the tenors.
My favourite choirmaster is back, a programme designed to lift the spirits if ever there was one.
What a brilliant concept and a brilliant programme. More than just the singing of a song, it brought people from the same workplace together.
So Gareth Malone working his musical magic again. But it seems that Andrew Marr is making history for all the wrong reasons.
People learned the essentials of survival, language, clothing and cooked food, and above all, working together to stay alive.
This is truly awful TV. Andrew Marr reading snippets of information combined with actors poorly recreating random fictional scenes from thousands of years ago. I'm embarrassed for you.
This is excruciating. Even those educational little films we were shown in primary school were more challenging and interesting than this.
Too many distractions there, maybe, for Andrew Marr. And back to the BBC and its own distractions, because the property portfolio is something that comes up again and again. The £2 billion in Salford and £1 billion for the new broadcasting house and so on. Just the amount of money that's been spent on buildings that could have been spent on programmes. Does that not cause for an apology at some point?
Well, Salford was £2 billion, but over 20 years. And what we're doing in Salford is making programmes in a much more productive way. Salford's involved 2,300 people working in the city. About a third were already working in Manchester, about a third have gone from London, about a third have been recruited locally. I think it's been an astonishing success. Sport, Radio 5 Live, children's and one or two other things as well.
But the cost of bricks and mortar is just what you would call dead weight, isn't it? You can spend all that money, you don't get a single programme.
No, but you can't go on making programmes in clapped out facilities.
Well, this building,
if you think about the move from here to Broadcasting House, and the move out of Bush House, we're putting all our journalists together. There will be huge improvements, I think, in the quality of output, as well as savings made as well. The BBC, frankly, was in too many bits of property, and reducing the numbers and going into property which is you can make more productive use of, as the management puts it, property that whose assets you can sweat more.
The BBC has arguably had a very, very good summer of sport with the Olympics and Wimbledon as well. And it's led to the question, why not take the hint and buy more sport, even though it's expensive?
We will be spending about £2 billion on sport over the rest of the licence fee period. That's the same as we're spending from the licence fee on journalism. It's about 10% of our overall spend. Now, that still enables us to do a lot of sport. It enables us to do Wimbledon, Match of the Day. It enables us to do Six Nations. And it's enabled us, of course, to do the Olympics. It enables us to do sport which clearly binds the community, the country together. I think it's very important that we should continue to do a lot of sport, but we just haven't got as much money to spend as some others. Look, when BT and Sky are bidding up to £6.5 million or more to televise a football match, we simply don't have that much money.
Well, on our message board, Germinator says, instead of BBC 3 and BBC 4, sport.
Well, interestingly, if you scrap BBC 3 and BBC 4, you'd have certainly a bit more money for sport, but you certainly wouldn't have enough money to compete with Sky in paying money for Premiership football games. One of the lessons we've learned from, I think, from the Olympics coverage, is that sport is hugely important to reach. And a statistic which I offer you, which may seem incredible but is true, is the BBC televises about 2% of all televised sport, but we get 40% of the audience.
Another viewer, Joan Beveridge, has said you don't do enough women's sport.
What we should be doing, and I think will be doing more after the Olympics, is more minority sports, as they're so called, because sooner or later they become majority sports, which I think is what's been happening with cycling. And we have to do more women's sport. And I very much hope that we'll be able to demonstrate our determination to do that in the coming weeks and months.
Well, sport makes a great TV pastime. Let's talk about another thing that does, which is cooking. We all enjoy our cooking shows, and there's one TV chef who's so famous she's only known by her first name. In fact, now even that's been changed to Nigelissima.
My children are bigger than me now, but luckily I've always got lots of other people's little ones surrounding me, so I'm happy. And it happens that my meat set and also my chocolate hazelnut cheesecake are just perfect for this sort of thing.
Some of the recipes she came up with have absolutely zero to do with Italian food.
Sorry, Nigella. I usually like her programmes, but just didn't like the look of any of the food served up, especially the meatloaf pizza. I love authentic Italian food, and this wasn't it.
There we are, Nigella, a very recognisable BBC brand. And Lord Patten, if we look at the branding of the BBC and what it's most famous for, its dramas and documentaries and news and sport and so on, does lead us to the question why the BBC doesn't just drop the broadcasting, drop the channel end, and just become a production house.
I don't think you can just do that without having any supporting services at all. For example, the BBC has always been, in a sense, as much an engineering company as a creative production company. And it's because it's been so good at the technology, for example, that we've had such a successful Olympics. The head of our technology said to me when I became chairman of the BBC Trust, what the coronation did for television back in the 1950s, I think the Olympics will do for digital.
So here we are, points of view, and obviously we handle viewer complaints, and I just wonder what you can tell the viewers about your role, because traditionally the chairman of the governors used to go into bat for the BBC, so whose side are you on?
I think it's a very good thing about the Trust that we are able to criticise the BBC when we think it's got things wrong. But I think that if the BBC is doing well, and I think overwhelmingly it is, it does deserve to have a cheerleader, but it also needs a cheerleader who can rap it on the knuckles when it isn't doing as good a job as it should.
Lord Patten, thank you very much for joining us.
Good to be with you.
So drama is one of those core areas of BBC output, and one of the newest dramas on the BBC is called The Paradise.
I want to bring 1,000 undreamed of temptations into the paradise. I promise you, sir, there will be no end to their appetite.
However, it will take more than one spectacular event to convince my partners at the bank.
If I may, sir, you were never going to convince them. The point is to convince you.
Wooden acting, poor dialogue, and about as gripping as a wet fish.
I enjoyed Lark Rise, but this is unbelievably crass and embarrassing.
Now to another drama, Good Cop, and if you've been enjoying that, you may have wondered why one of the episodes was dropped a few days ago, and the answer was it had uncomfortable parallels with the shooting of 2 police officers in Greater Manchester.
The programme should still have been made available on the iPlayer, with a strong warning about content to enable those of us who have been following this compelling drama to make an informed and deliberate choice to watch it.
Can you let us know when the last episode of Good Cop is going to be broadcast after it was taken off at the last minute?
So, what is the latest decision on whether Good Cop will ever be shown?
In light of news events, BBC One postponed the final episode of Good Cop. A new transmission date for the final Good Cop episode will be confirmed in due course.
And that brings our BBC Trust special to an end. Next week, we've got the start of Merlin. And if you want to react to that or anything else on the BBC, do write to us. Here is the address. Points of View, BBC Birmingham B1 1AY. You're also more than welcome to email. The address for you, pov@bbc.co.uk. Jump on the message board, bbc.co.uk/POV, or call us. The number is charged as a local rate call from a landline, and it is 0370 908 3199. Goodbye.